Nothing tops your cut. Nothing tops your cut. Nothing tops your cut. Nothing.
Into the Black Dragon and listen to his knowledge. This is Biker 101, and he's professor to the college. Posting up videos on YouTube, coming directly to you, showing you the ins and outs and what not to do.
Hi, I'm Black Dragon, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Our new look and feel and our new name. When our new name is Black Dragon Biker TV, and we got a new look and a new feel. We're going to be tackling new subject matter, all kinds of different new content coming for you, and we hope you like the changes in the show and the changes in the format and the changes in the look and the feel and the changes in the content. So we're just going to be focusing on a lot of fun stuff this summer, riding all over the place and doing all kinds of fun things with the channel. So hopefully you guys like the changes. Hit me up in the comments box and let me know how you like the new front piece header of the channel. Also, man, I need an artist real bad to help me get my final look down. There's only so much a semi-graphic artist like myself can do. So some of you guys that are like artists that could really help me get my look really honed and really down, please give me a shout at blackdragon@blacksabbathmc.com. There's so many of you talented people out there, like for instance the cool guy Raz Massey, who did my intro music, and I'm going to try to get him to do some more stuff for me. So anyway, Black Dragon Biker TV, as always, we thank you for tuning in, and we definitely appreciate you and all you folks that have helped get us to this level. This letter I got, and I say letter, it's actually an email. I call them letters because I'm old, but this email I got was from Zeus406. And Zeus406 says, "Hey Dragon, can a get back whip get you pulled over? They tell me it's a police magnet. Can you please let me know? I've been dying to put one on, but I don't want the negativity of the police in my business." So let's talk about get back whips, get back braids, biker whips. These things are the coolest things in the world, and I've been riding with two of them for about 10 years, and I think the first one I ever saw, a guy with a motorcycle club called Final Option. This guy, his name is Howie, and everybody in the world knows him. He rides all over, and he used to have like this Harley with these ape hangers on it and these long whips just stringing behind him. I think the first time I saw that was like, you know, maybe 25 years ago, something like that. And I wanted a get back whip ever since that time. I always wanted one. And I did some research on these things, all kinds of websites. So the history I found on these things is kind of interesting. And we're going to answer your question, but I kind of, you know me, I got a roundabout way of getting everything. So the history on these things, they're originally designed with club colors on them. And it was how you could tell that a biker was in a certain club, a certain motorcycle club. His club colors would be attached. And one of the things that one of the articles I read said, when it hung on here, you could tell whose bike not to mess with, because even though the biker wasn't there, the club colors would be kind of evident, which I thought was kind of cool. And they also were used to do battle with. This is a instrument that you could do battle with, because most of them have like this monkey ball in the bottom, or a lead pipe or something like that in the bottom of them. Or I've seen little like kind of almost like razor blade kind of things on here that would cut people. I've seen stones, I've seen skulls, I've seen all kinds of stuff. So these are kind of cool, but they have a quick release on them, and you can pull this quick release, and all of a sudden you have a instrument here you can hit with, or this ball you can hit with, And they're really cool. Like, they work like nunchucks. If you know how to use nunchucks, these things are cool. You know, they kind of work like nunchucks. And you could just really inflict some damage with them, especially if you had two. But guys who say that these are not weapons, they have other uses. Like, I read that by these things fluttering in the air, they make you more visible because cars can see them, and cars might want to stay away from these things to not mess up their paint jobs. I was initially told that a get back braid, we call them, or get back whip, the purpose of them was to, if a car gets too close, you grab the quick release and bang it or something. Let the guy know that he's too close. And you can, if you bang a car with this, the car's going to need repair. But there's some other things, like this one is and they go on your brake levers and they go on your clutch levers. So, but if you have like a Victory like mine, there's no way that this thing will stay on here, so I had to put tape on mine to keep it. And they can easily get caught up on here and burn. Like mine look like glass. The nylon cords have been burned so many times. Now when I park my bike, I have to remember to put that up like that. So this is a short one, but on this side I have a long one. And this was like one of the first ones I ever got before someone made me the short one. And so this is a little bit longer. This one has the lead pipe in the end of it. So, it's kind of cool. I guess you could have both of them and just really, kind of get down if you needed to. They make great karate movie things. But I have never used these things in the past 10 years of riding with them for anything other than show. And so a lot of bikers, when they see this, or old school club heads, think you're just a rich urban biker, just trying to look cool with these. And I got to admit, I think they look really cool. And it never dawned on me that I would ever have to use one. But you guys remember that Braveheart got attacked last week by a pit bull that actually jumped on my bike and snatched Braveheart off. And so for the first time in 10 years, the only thing that I had was this get back whip, which I instantly snatched off. I grabbed this sucker and I started coming down on top of that dog with all I had. Had I done it with this one, I probably would have crashed his skull in. So I actually had a real life use for a get back whip, which was last week. And I was glad I had them on my bike. These quick release things work. On this one, I had to actually put tape right here to make it stay. I didn't put tape on the lever, I put the tape here. So that's the thing about a get back whip. Now, one of the articles I read was actually written by a friend of mine, a guy he wrote his first article in like 2008. So he's written about this over the years. He's an attorney. He does a lot of biker cases, and they call him the biker attorney. And he writes at like bikerlaw.com, something like that. And so the question is, are these illegal? And the answer really is, it depends on what state you're in. These things can be illegal. And one of the places that they tend to be illegal is California, where they're called a slung shot. Not a slingshot, but a slung shot. And a slung shot is defined as any kind of a rope or chain with a metal, wooden, concrete, bone, any kind of object attached to it that can be used as a weapon. And it is a felony, because even nunchucks are a felony in California. So all that cool stuff that we used to see in the 70s Bruce Lee's movies are like all illegal. And metal. So even this part could be considered a slung shot. So the really sucky thing about things that I've read about people getting pulled over in California is they get pulled over and thrown off their bikes onto the ground and just treated like you're really walking down the street with an M16. So it really depends on where you are. So this thing talks about back when he wrote this, he said that if you're in California, you should really think about not having that on your bike, because there's more than one law in California that can catch you up. For instance, there's a law in California that you can't use any weapon to hurt another person. So that could even be a hammer. So they wouldn't necessarily have to go after you for the slung shot. They could go after you for using a weapon to harm another person. So he says you shouldn't use any kind of weapon if you can help it. And if you have this in California, I read another article that says if you're going to have this in California, it must be affixed in such a way that it can't come off the bike. I don't know that to be true, it's just something I read, but it makes sense. It can't be a slung shot if it can't come off the bike. And so I heard another guy say that you could have them if they didn't have any kind of metal in them, if it was just really kind of like a whip. But then I read something somewhere else that says no, you still can't have it. So you got to do the research. Are these illegal? Can you be pulled over and hassled by the cops? You most definitely can. And I've read about people that have been pulled over and hassled by the cops for having them. Typically when I ride my motorcycle to California, I rock these things through about Middle Texas. When I get over towards El Paso, I normally take them off. And I don't try to cross into the West Coast with these things on my bike at all. So when you watch me doing the cross-country rides, I ride with these things in the South, all the places where like my concealed carry permit takes me. But now I wouldn't use that as a standard. You need to look up each city that you're going to be in, each state that you're going to be in, to let you know whether or not you can have get back raised. Like if I was going to ride to New York or Chicago or one of those places, I would make darn sure I knew the laws about having this in those places. This guy talks about some advantages of the get back whip. Let's see, where are the advantages? Oh, I think I told you all the advantages. But some of the disadvantages. I guess this is advantages and disadvantages. We talked about that. Other motorists could see this while it's flashing in the air. And it might help you to beat a dog off of you. It might help you or any situation where you might need some kind of a rope or something. But it definitely can be a magnet to cops that want to make an issue out of it and want to call it something other than a whip, like a slung shot or some kind of mace or something like that. So these are the kind of things you got to be aware of if you're going to have this cool ornament on your bike, because you're not going to really convince anybody that this thing isn't a weapon when need be. And the other thing that this guy says is, if you have to use this, make sure that it's in a self-defense situation where there was just no other recourse, because you can see the law kind of stacking up against you. Here you are carrying this weapon, and maybe you knew you were going to have some trouble, all that kind of stuff. So I enjoy my get back whips, but for me they're more, they had been more for show than anything else, because I thought they were cool. Oh, another thing I want to tell you about is I've always had tall motorcycles, and long get back whips that touch the ground, these things can hurt you. One of the brothers in my club ran over his and fell, toppled his whole bike over, pulled his handlebars, and he fell, and he quit using them. I've yet to have anything like that happen to me, but they do, if you're going to have these long ones that drag the ground, they do require getting used to. Like they're always caught up in your feet. You got to always kick them out of the way. To get on your motorcycle, you got to kick them out of the way if you're going to use your clutch. Mine's on my left, so I'm always kicking it out of the way. It's got this big heavy metal piece on it, so when you're riding, it will slap you. It'll hit you in the back of the head. It hurts. It'll hit your passenger. A lot of times my passenger will grab it and hold it. If she's holding this, she's got your steerage. So if she was to panic, she could pull your steering to a whole different way. So I don't let my passenger hold this. You know, I might stick it between my legs or something, or put it on my rump, but I don't let folks hold this. So these can be dangerous because they will take your mind off the road, and that's not something that you want. And they require maintenance. I can see that mine's actually coming apart, so I'm going to have to black tape it like I've done this. And it drags the ground, so the leather comes off of it, and you've got to tape it up and all that kind of stuff. And before I got this bike, I used to have black and white ones. So before I went to the all black ones. So they're kind of cool. I like them. They look cool. But I would suggest that you know very well in your state what is allowable before you go riding around with these things, because they could definitely be considered weapons. You could definitely be pulled over, definitely be hassled, and definitely be arrested in some areas and charged with a felony for having a get back whip. Well, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys as always, and I'd love to hear your comments about it. Let me know what you think, and just drop that down in the comments section, and let me know again what you think about our new look and feel. And that's it. That's my 2 cents. Thanks for tuning in, and get skinny.
Nothing tops your cut. Nothing tops your cut. Nothing tops your cut. Nothing.
Into the Black Dragon and listen to his knowledge. This is Biker 101, and he's professor to the college. Posting up videos on YouTube, coming directly to you, showing you the ins and outs and what not to do. He's truly a breed apart. Subscribe to his channel. Some try their best, but they don't match his can. Don't believe me, it's cool. Tune in and hear him on truth. He's straight schooling you. His vids are the proof. He's filled with desire. He's filled with respect. He's filled with a fire. He always comes correct. Was 5 years to prospect. He didn't care about his label, but now he runs the Black Sabbath. Set in stone is his fable.
Black Sabbath forever, forever Black Sabbath.
Thanks for tuning in and get skinny.